Well, I got my tech shirt on today, which means it's time for a tech video. Got to swap out my air conditioner. Already did it. Ended up with some spare parts. Stick around, I'll explain it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Scott. I am an RV technician, and my wife Ellen and I travel full-time in our 2022 39 RKFB Riverstone. We've been on the road for about 4 years, and I've been a RV certified tech for about 3, and I have a background in electronics and all kinds of gadgets and stuff like that. So today we're talking about swapping out the air conditioner in our RV. So we went on a cruise back in the beginning of March, and we left our RV at the Surf RV Resort in Palmetto, Florida, which is where we stay during the winter. And we left the air conditioners on at a reasonable temperature, probably like 78 degrees or something like that. And when we got back, I noticed that the bedroom air conditioner was not pumping out any cold air, and it happened to be warm on the day that we got back. So I went up there and checked it out, checked the capacitors, checked a whole lot of different things, and turns out that the compressor was seized. I even tried in a Hail Mary attempt, I threw a hard start unit on to try to boost the amperage to see if I could get it to kick over, and it wouldn't. So I said, okay, well, it's a Penguin II, let me go out and source one from a bunch of different places, and nobody has them. Turns out that they don't make them anymore. You can't get parts for them, all kinds of ugliness like that. So I called Dometic and asked what the replacement was, and they recommend a FreshJet 5. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, FreshJet 5. So I called around. Not a lot of places had them, but I did find one through the wholesale account at Camping World, which I know a lot of people don't like them, but they serve me well. Anyhow, I ordered from them and I got it delivered, and I took the old one off the roof and I took all the parts out of it because I called my dealer, Bill's Happy Camper in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania, and I talked to the lead tech there, Josh, and he said, hey, you know that there's a compatibility issue with the Dometic Penquin II and the FreshJet and the Firefly. You can't just drop it in. It's not a direct replacement. You got to do some rework. And he happened to have a bulletin from Forest River that outlined the rework. So I got that bulletin. He was generous enough to send it along to me, bugs. And I read through that, and then I took the old air conditioner off after I got the new one. You have to take the electronics out of it. I did all that, and then I put the new air conditioner up on the roof, and I let it sit there because we didn't need it. And finally, today, I went through and did the rewiring of it and getting it all hooked up. So all those spare parts that you saw at the beginning of the video are the things that you don't need once you switch everything out. So here's a bunch of little clips of me doing the work, and then I'll be back at the end and explain it in a little bit more detail or summarize. All right, hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. All right, so I'm going to cut this here just because it's a natural location, and then I will do it right here as well. And that, and let's see, I'll just do it right here. And that should, let me take this off pretty easily. And of course, you got to put it somewhere where it won't blow away. So I typically will put it underneath the shroud. And then to take this off, it's pretty easy. Just a few of these right here, they're just standard size. And there's usually 4 or 5 of them. 2, 3, there's one in here. Oh, that's a little tight. There we go. And then there. And that's pretty much the same as the Penguin. So we're going to get that. And then there are these clips here. You can just release these by hand. And oh, I wonder if that's new. I might have to release those too. Let me see. Yep, that's different. So, and of course, those are different size. At least they look to be. Let's check. Oh no, same size. Okay. I've got the power disconnected. This has been installed, but not, well, put in place, but not powered up or anything. Okay, so that does that, and that'll come right off, and you can get to the inside. All right, so this is where all the difference is. This control box. I'll open up the other Penguin and show you what originally it looks like, but the defective one I had taken off, and there's only 4 bolts to do that. One here, 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 and there's another one. Oh, over here. So it was just a matter of taking those out, disconnecting everything, and then peeling it up. And I dismantled the old one. I took the motor out while I was up here. I took all the electronics out. That made it a little bit lighter, and then I just jettisoned it over the side. All right, so the videos with me recording with these glasses are only 3 minutes long, so I got to piece these together. So basically there are 4 pages of instructions on how to make this air conditioner compatible with the Penguin II setup that we had with the Firefly system. So it's a matter of rewiring some stuff, taking out the old control board, which I don't remember it being in here, but there's a control board over here, I believe. So we'll check that out. A little bit of work. I think that on the 4 pages of instructions is only like 2 or 3 pages that I have to follow. It's all just rewiring. So I'm going to do my best to document what I've got up here and then figure out the rest of it. All right, let's see what's underneath here, see how similar it is to the Penguin. I'm gonna have to break this off a little bit. Oh, so actually in the Penguin, in here, they usually would put the control board and the capacitors. That's no longer in here. I suspect it's all over in here now. To open that up and check it out. I will leave this open though, just so I can have access to these wires if I need to when following those instructions. Let's see what's over in here. The power is disconnected from this, but there are capacitors in here, and I'm not going to trust that they are discharged. So when I get in here, I'll get my pliers and see if I can discharge them. I don't know how this comes off. You have to, yeah, you got to take it off from down there too. I'm not sure if all of this will be necessary. I suspect it will be, but this is my first time working on one of these, so I need to figure it out anyhow. Okay, so there are the capacitors and relay. So let me get these, and we will discharge just in case, just to be safe. And I do it all 3 ways just to be safe. And then we'll get this one down here. Oh, that's an interesting little change too. There's a resistor across this cap. That's interesting. All right. So we got that. Not sure we're actually going to need to do that. This is a heat pump version too, so there is the reversing valve and the solenoid for that. So the control board is in here. So that's going to be the changemuko. All right. More screws in here. So I know I'm going to have to get into this, so I'll open this one up. Get in here now. Alright, so this comes off pretty easy. Let's, oh, look at that. So that's why you have to retrofit this, because this is much more sophisticated than the original air conditioner that's on here. So, very interesting. That's why they're having you tear it all out. It makes a lot of sense now. And here's the everything else from the previous setup. Basically, all you really had going into the controller was this. These wires, they just weren't used. I'll tidy those up. But basically, all you have to do is plug in power, and then this went into the old control panel. So we will go figure all that out, and then you got to take the wiring out of here and wire it all to the new controller, or the old control board rather. So yeah, a little bit of an undertaking, but better I do it on my own first than somebody else's. Learn on my time versus theirs. Alright, so here are the electronic guts from the old Penguin. You can see the caps are in here, control board. Here's the power. Here's this connector, 6-pin, that went in to the system here. And I guess these on here are high fan, low fan, heat pump, and just a call to turn it on. And you can see this pretty much matches up to what was over here. So once I figure out what I need to remove on this, I suspect I can put this control board in here. I'm guessing this goes away, but I'll hold on to it, of course, because that's a good piece of inventory in case I got a customer that it fouls on them. We got that. All right, so let me go read the instructions and see what I'm going to tear apart first. All right, I'm going to dismantle all this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to discharge these capacitors just to make sure. And then we can get rid of them. Oops. So they're saying we don't need that, we don't need this. That's Phillips, I'll get that later. I'll take these capacitors out, get them out of my way. It does say to get rid of some. I know they're good, so keep them available. Alright, so wires. Well, we're going to keep this outdoor temp sensor. It says don't use the new one, use this one. For whatever reason, they may be slightly different values. Let's see, what else can I get out of here? Okay, remove the run capacitor, no longer. Remove the string release from the backside of the electrical. Disconnect fan wires, compressor wires, reverse valve from control board and pull all wires. So it's to just take out the, well, basically disconnect everything. The reversing valve. It's basically having you pull everything out of here. Let me get rid of this thing, get this thing out of my way. Yeah, there you go. There we go. Yeah. And another extra one. And all right. All right. There is the outdoor sensor we can leave connected. Freeze sensor. I don't know what it says about the freeze sensor, but we'll leave that. And then the furnace. Yeah, so I guess, well, everything's got, anything that's coming through this harness has to come out. So that would be that. All right, so here we go. Got this figured out a little bit more. So essentially what they want you to do is remove this box here, and it's going to replace with the old one. I mean, you could move this stuff over, but this is already wired in, all nice and neat. Maybe I'll decide to do that. But hey, 6 one, half dozen of the other, I suppose. Well, I still have to get back there to get these inserts on. These might not pop off easy, might break them in the process. And I don't have any replacements, so maybe it's just as easy to put it in here. All right, so basically what they want you to do is take this off, because you're not going to use this. Not the new one anyhow. All right, disconnect the reversing solenoid. Oh, that's tight. Wow, it's in there. Might end up cutting it and re-terminating it. Anyhow, okay, well, come back to that too. We'll get this ground wire that I mentioned earlier. We don't need that because we're going to use this box and it's already on it. So we'll take that off. And then basically these grommet strain release, they call them. We'll take those, loosen those up so we can get these wires out. The fan wires, which is right there, we're going to drag that all the way back through here. And then we'll take it out here as well. There you go. Because we're going to replace the box, so we'll take this out. And then we have to go and take everything out from this side as well and pull it all back through. So let me open this up and we'll get that done. All right, I'm going to break these off to kind of make it a little bit easier. Put in my refuse pile over there. And we'll free this up. Never easy when you want it to be. There you go. Save those. Those are always handy to have. All right, so the compressor wire is the dark blue. That's got to come through. Get this out of the way. There you go. Now it's getting easier. All right. That's going to come up, and then that'll end up connecting into here. And we'll get that switched over. We're going to pull it all the way back through, doing one at a time, just for sanity's sake, if nothing else. All right. We got the purple. Oh man, it's tight too. Let's see if I can get that off. There you go. And then we have this. And then we don't need this anymore. This is the sensor. Like I said, it might, oh no, it's not going to be easy to pull out that way, so I'm definitely going to have to pull it through this way. Well, you know what, maybe I'll just leave it, because I'm going to take this whole thing out anyhow, so it really doesn't matter. So I'll just leave it intact, just in case I have to use that. Bring this white over. Okay. Purple will come through. I didn't disconnect that there, but we know what we'll have to do there. That was just too tight. All right, and the ground can come back through because we don't need it. This will stay in here because we're going to take this out. So I just got to figure out what they said about this white. It doesn't say anything about that. Open it. All right, so it does say to cut the remaining white wire. So I will do that. Where is my... I'm going to cut it probably like in the middle right here, just in case I reuse this. I want to have some slack to work with. So I'll do that. Cut it there. All right, so there you go. I'll reassemble all this and keep it intact. I'll bring all this stuff, well, this is going to stay here. I'll bring this back over to there. What I'm going to do now is take this out and put this in its place, and then we'll get this all orderly and see how we wire everything up. Oh, actually, you can see it here. There's two more here. There you go. Boom, boom. There you go. Awesome. Get that out of the way. This, go back in here. Let's see how this is going to go. Looks right. All right, so I got the old electrical and controller box mounted in the new unit. So we have the controller from the previous unit. And what I did is I connected the compressor back up. I connected the reversing valve back up. I couldn't get this disconnected, but it turns out that this blue wire would have been too short anyhow. So I just used the existing purple that came from the new controller. There's plenty of room in here because we don't have the capacitors, so the extra wire isn't an issue. I'll just tuck it down there. And then the blue wire, that's a little bit long as well, because that used to go all the way to the front to the controller when it was mounted up there. But again, I didn't want to have to re-terminate that, so I just kind of put it in place here. Now the next thing you do is you connect these terminated neutrals. One that goes over to the caps and provides primary power, and then this one coming in from the source. So you just tie those together, and then we cap this one off because it's not used. The only weirdity up front here is this freeze sensor, because the one on the new controller was coming right here. It was very short lead and it would reach there. This has to reach all the way over there. Now you could use the 4 over and 4 up and maybe put it here, or maybe get there. So we'll figure that out. I reconnected the module back in. I didn't connect power yet until I finished the work over here. And I have the existing Dometic Firefly module is mount. I haven't secured it up there, but it's down there ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to terminate all this stuff in. If I didn't mention already, you cut these, you use the black and the red, and I don't think we use the yellow, and you just connect them into the high and the low one, fan on the control board there. So I'm going to get that done, terminate that all up, put the ends on, and then kind of turn it on, see what happens. All right, moment of truth. I've got everything wired in. Let's see, I've got that wire terminated there, the one that we're not using. The yellow is over here, terminated, not using that. Rehooked up the outdoor temperature sensor. Like I said earlier, or maybe I didn't, the wire for this is not long enough to reach over there, so I may do the 4 and 4. Yeah, I haven't buttoned anything up. This, you didn't need to remove the cover from this, it turns out. Just needed this side, and as you saw, I took out the well, this cover will go back on, but I took out that from the new one because this was already mounted in the old one that I've taken off, and that saved me from having to worry about these standoffs breaking and not having any to replace it. Yeah, and this is the same form factor, same hole, same everything. So there's all the spare parts. Here's the controller. We'll keep that for, you know, somebody customer fails, or if I get something else that requires it, whatever. Capacitors were still good, but I'll probably just put them in my spares, and then all the rest of the stuff can be jettisoned. Don't need it. 4 pages of instructions. If those are available publicly, we'll make them available in the description of the video below. So let's see, here we go. At the moment of truth, I have the Vega app on my Firefly system, so let's see if this fires up. I got the circuit breaker turned on. course, now it won't connect, right? Let's see. Oh, there it is. All right, so we're on the bedroom. This is the bedroom AC. We are going to first test the fan. I'll put the fan on low. My fingers work, but there it goes. Oh, and we have lowness. I'm going to kick it to high. Shuts off. Yeah, it's definitely high. Now I'll put it to off. Let everything shut off. Now put it on cool. Oh, sorry, I should mention this. So I had it on low, high. Now I put it on off. I'm going to put it on cool. Temperature is set to 71. The indoor temperature is 77. Thermostat's definitely working. Compressor isn't up yet. Let's see. There it is. Compressor turned on as that motorcycle was turning on. I don't know if you heard that. But yeah, okay, so the compressor's on. I can feel this getting cold. All right, let me shut that off. Turn that off. Everything should shut down in a second or two. I'm going to set the temperature here like 86. Let this thing shut down. I'm going to turn the heat pump on. Don't know if it'll actually work. Oh, I heard the reversing valve click too. Compressor's not up yet, but I heard the pressure release when the reversing valve kicked in. So I will test that overnight because it has been cold here at like 50 degrees last night. So I'll test this overnight. The other heat pump over there we used last night or this morning. So I'll just take that off for now. I'm going to throw back to turn the heat pump off. I heard the reversing valve click again. Oh, I turned it back on by accident. Okay, so I heard the reversing valve yet again click a couple of times. I'm going to put it back to cool, and I will set the temperature back down to, it clicked on and then I hit the temperature. There we go. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too all over the place and you kind of get the gist of what was happening there. The documentation was very good, so if you have to rely on that rather than me, you'd probably be better off. But let me show you, this pile of extra stuff is not as bad as it looks. This is basically all from, with the exception of this, all from the old unit, which you would have been throwing away anyhow. I just took it all off the unit because I didn't know what I would need or not need when I actually went through to do the project. So basically, you take everything. All you really need is the control board from the old unit, the outdoor temperature sensor from the old unit, and the freeze sensor from the old unit. And if you have the Dometic control unit that goes in there, a little black box that I showed in the video that connects to Firefly, you obviously need that. So then this part here is from the new unit. It is the control module from that. So you know, you got to take that out and you may as well keep it. It's brand new. You might have to use it at some point, or maybe somebody's looking for one, you can help them out. And then little pieces, parts, and then this is the what would have been the electrical box enclosure. You could see that I used the one from the old system just because I didn't want to have to remove the control board and risk the standoffs and stuff like that. Overall, it took me probably 2 hours moving the camera, rereading the instructions and stuff like that to get it all done. But I think if you, I don't know what the book time would be on it, but I think you could, if on your second one, you get it done in an hour. Probably take you longer to get the old air conditioner off the roof and the new one up there than to do the actual work. I exaggerate a little bit there, but as long as you got all the right tools, you're going to need, you know, some wire strippers, a couple of spade connectors, stuff like that. Yeah, pretty basic. So I've been running the air conditioner for a few hours now. It was 77 degrees in the bedroom. I shut the doors, I put it on auto and set the temperature to like 70, and it got it down really quickly, less than an hour anyhow. It got it down to about 70 from 77. I didn't even measure the time, but it was certainly nothing to be concerned with. I didn't check out the heat pump yet, but I suspect that'll work fine. I'll test that out tonight because it's going to drop down around 50. And I noticed when I was reviewing the video, when I was after I did the bumper and the introduction, I was walking around explaining what we're going to do. People might wonder where we are, and we are actually in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We're at the Artillery Ridge Campground and Horse Rescue, and it's really nice here. The whole area is beautiful, so if you get a chance to come out this way, you really should. A lot of history, obviously, with Gettysburg being right around the corner. Literally a half mile, maybe a mile down the road, you can get into all the auto tour and stuff like that. We'll do a video on that sometime in the future. So this is one of the tech videos. If you like this kind of stuff, you should let me know. I'll do more of them. And let's see, I think I covered everything. If you got any other questions, of course, leave a comment down below. And let's see, yeah. Well, as usual, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And if you think anybody else will get value from this content, please share it out to them. Thanks for watching. Catch up with you later. Take care.